Hello everybody, this is Earth-4 taking a look at the game Battle for Middle-earth 4. I played Germany. My plan was to build an alliance with France in which he would take England and then move into the Mediterranean, while I would move north first into Scandinavia and then east and south, taking what I needed for my win from Russia, Austria, and then out of the Balkans. So hoping for something like this, let's take a look and see how that worked out for me. The story of 1901 was really England's big fumble. He accidentally orders 2 units to the same territory, which pretty much ensures that he will gain no builds in the first year. Was successful in speaking with France and getting a deal worked out with him. But after his big mistake, England started talking to both France and I about Western Triple, that is an alliance between Germany, France, and England. And since England was in such a poor position, we actually decided that it might be nice to have a third ally who was weaker than us, who we could kind of exploit. And so we agreed to it. Also, starting in the fall, because of that agreement, I really, I would say, own Russia. I bounce him out of Sweden here and tell him that I will not allow him into Sweden unless he can prove to me that he is not working with Turkey. So you see here in the fall of 1901 I prevent him from getting in there. Oh, and also I moved into Cilicia, so advanced towards his middle centers here. And then in the spring I do it again. He had built a fleet which he now attacks Turkey with. And in the fall, I go ahead and take Sweden because England has moved into position to attack St. Petersburg, and Russia's unit has to attempt to help with that. Russia faked his attack on Turkey. He really just takes Black Sea and then backs off. Also in 1902, Austria drops out of the game. Even though he had a good first year, I'm not really sure why he left, but that is what it is. 1903 was pretty standard as far as Western Triple goes. I moved my units into position against Russia and Austria, while also helping England move down into Moscow. England built armies that he was going to convoy over. You see down here France pushing units into Italy, which I helped him with. You see my unit here cutting support so that France could get his convoyed army into Tuscany. Here I'm moving out of Belgium to Ruhr as an agreement with France. From here I can only move to Burgundy. His army here could stop that either way. From here he could only move to Burgundy, and I'd have a unit there that could help in my defense. My move this fall caused a little bit of trouble, as I had promised England that I would vacate Sweden, which I do. I move him to Denmark as a defensive maneuver just in case England decides to try anything funny, not thinking that he would take that as a sign of aggression. You see here I'm still supporting him. I haven't done anything else aggressive, but he sees that move as dangerous. My fleet could move into the North Sea from there. And so when the build phase comes around, he actually builds a fleet in London. We sort of had some issues from that. I was concerned. France was obviously concerned. But we were able to work that out, luckily. So you see here in the spring, I actually support his fleet up into the North Sea, just as a sign that I was not upset with him anymore, and he was going to just move that on, I believe, into Norway, and then I'll back up from Denmark to Sweden. So that was good. Also, you notice here in 1904, there's a new Austrian player. I'm not sure why anyone would take over in the position Austria was in when he did take over, with me surrounding him here. He looked back through the game years in his defense and said that he could tell I was in an agreement with France, but that I was at war with England. I'm not sure where he got the second part from, since I'd been supporting England's attacks over here in Russia. But I took the freebie here, since he decides not to defend Vienna. I just went on ahead and took it. You see, as we down into the fall, there's a pretty solid defense over here that Russia and Austria are putting up against the attacks down here, and that starts giving me an idea for the next year. France and I were both kind of tired of England. He was really just hanging on to our success, we thought. After his big fumble in the first turn, most of his gains came with my support. So you'll see here in the fall of the next year, that is the fall of '05, I talked to Turkey and Austria and told them how they could defend against England's advances. So you see, I still advance. I take Budapest, move units forward, but England is not able to gain any ground. He doesn't take Romania, and he would not have been able to take Sevastopol if he had attempted that either. Also, a big stroke of luck for France and I. You see here Italy moving a unit into Western Med, and when it comes to his disband, he actually disbands Tunis, so he leaves this fleet with access to the mid-Atlantic. Knowing that that is probably what he would do, England contacts France and gives him permission, which I thought was kind of a funny way to put it, but gives him permission to build this fleet here in Brest. Normally that fleet would seem like an act of aggression. It has access to these English centers, but in the interest of defense, not wanting this enemy fleet out into the Atlantic, England lets it slide, which works out to our benefit. You see, I continue to make progress down here. England continues to get held up. And then in the fall, you see France moves that fleet up into Liverpool. You see I have a bunch of holds marked in here for myself. I actually did not submit any moves on purpose. It was my one no moves received, or NMR, but I did it so that England would not think that I was complacent or helping out in the attack against him. So in the adjustment phase, I could build these fleets and pass them off as a defensive move, as an act of me preparing to help England in his own defense of his territory. He doesn't really buy that, but that's alright. He doesn't hurt me at all. You see, I continue to make progress down here while he starts to backtrack and defend his home centers. I move against Turkey, start taking out the centers down here. You see here, kind of annoying, I lose Warsaw to Austria, who is just being a big pain in my side right now. But that doesn't really end up doing any harm. You see, I take Warsaw back, and I get Moscow. He moves, instead of moving to Silesia, which I thought he might do, he moves to Prussia, and from there I just can order my army in the fall. Oh, just a moment. There we go. In the fall, I can order my army to Berlin, which prevents him from taking anything. He can't get Warsaw back. And on top of that, I am able to take Sevastopol from the Turkish player who was NMR this particular turn. So I'm actually doing quite well in my original plan. You remember it was to take these centers here. I'm only a few shy of what I originally intended to take. So the adjustments come in '08, and here I actually make a stab against France, and an interesting one, I think, because I stab him by moving to Tyrolia, but I also support his move into Greece and support his move from Greece into Bulgaria. I do that so that Apulia here will not have an army in it, and I should be able to walk straight into Venice in the fall. That is my hope. That is indeed what happens. So you see here I can walk straight into Venice, and I'm also in the position to take Bulgaria back from France. So I just helped him into Bulgaria, and now I take it from him. And at the end of '09, I have 17 centers. This was a big move on my part, a perhaps stupid move. at the end of this year, I send a message to in the global chat, send it to all the players, essentially declaring victory, which in hindsight was probably a bad idea. If the three of them had banded together, they could have prevented me from winning, and they do indeed work together for the short time that the game lasts. But you see here, as we move on, I'm able to take St. Petersburg because of England's disband, and I'm also able to take Greece while holding all of my other territories. That puts me up to 19 in the spring, and because of the moves of the other players, because of the way they decided to defend against my attacks, I am not in danger of losing any more than one territory. I'm able to defend everything except one of these three, Bulgaria, Romania, and Sevastopol. But the way I set up my defense, they could only take one and not the others. So I do lose one of them. I lose Romania, but I am able to keep everything else and finish the game with 18. Very close to the 18 that I hoped to finish the game with. The only differences being I did not have Norway or Romania, but I had Greece and Venice, which were not in my original plan. So pretty close to what I hoped to do from the get-go. I was happy with the solo victory. It was a fun game, 10-year game, so it lasted quite a while. But any comments or questions would be appreciated. Thanks for watching.